Everybody, happy Thursday. A lot of windshield time today. May end up doing a video on insurance as well. But let's talk about what everybody's talking about right now. If you have a realtor or real estate agent on your social media, this whole mess of the law changes. Now, I've been saying this for a while. The official changes are going into practice. Well, not into practice. Sorry, they're in practice now, but taking effect on Saturday, meaning that hey, if an agent screws something up as of based on Saturdays, they're subject to fines and potential legal action and losing license and going before boards and committees and all this stuff. Everybody's out here giving different opinions. Because like the stuff in the rules that are coming out, right? It's the language in the rules of what's changing. And those of you who follow me or know, if not, it's everywhere. Just type it in and it'll pop up. It's pretty black and white. Yes. However, nothing in real estate is black and white. So every contract is going to have unique situations, unique circumstances, unique things, because you're negotiating with how many people, right? It takes, like, in a real estate contract, I don't know, it takes 15, 20 people together between clients and inspectors and lenders and title and processors and everything. Like, there's like 15, 20 people all on the same page, nothing to screw up, right? So it almost never happens perfectly. And so there's always weird, unique situations. Honestly, it's kind of what makes it fun. But the good old government, Department of Justice, and all this lawsuit didn't really take into account for all these one-off weird situations that happen in nearly every contract. So there's all these situations that now is set up, and ultimately, like, this is what we're running into. I'll give you a quick example. 2 weeks ago, we had a plan. I had a plan of what we were going to do. Not to like say, hey, the plan was 100% clear. But I was like, hey, I have a good understanding of what's going on. This is our plan. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. Conveying that to our team, right? This is how our team is going to do it. Other agents probably, I'm sure, doing different stuff. Well, Monday they say, hey, boom, we're starting to practice, right? Monday is camp. Right, it's camp for football season to start. Right, season starts on Saturday. We have a game on Saturday. We're practicing on Monday, and by Tuesday, I was like, "Holy shit, this isn't going to work." Meaning the plan that we had, I knew within 48 hours. I was like, "Well, this is not how I saw it going." I don't know what the word to use there. So now we got to pivot. Well, I've been pivoting, and I feel like I have a pretty creative mind and very open to situations and how to problem solve and make things right. Kind of how we built our team and our dynamic and the way we do. It's very creative because nobody else really does it like this. However, I keep running into lose-lose situations. If I do it this way, right, is the client going to not like that situation and get pissed off and not want to work with us? Well, if I do it this way, I'm doing sometimes double the work for way less pay of even what I should be getting paid doing the work for one person. So it's like, holy crap, like it's just a disaster right now. And I don't know what the next week's gonna look like. I don't know what the next month's gonna look like. I don't know what the next 6 months gonna look like, the next year. There have now been more lawsuits filed this week. Now realtors are suing NAR, which is what the sellers and the law firms sued. They sued NAR, basically, and other brokerages that's got us here. Well, now realtors are saying, screw you, NAR. We're going to sue you for antitrust because you're a monopoly. Boy, so it is getting interesting. And what even in our, like, our brokerages for East Tennessee purposes, I mean, we're pretty much the biggest one around. Most agents, most business, best leadership, people involved, like at all different levels, in NAR and MLS and stuff. And even what they thought was going to happen a month ago changed. 2 weeks ago, what we were anticipating, what they were putting out, changed, right? So come Saturday, what's going to happen when we're doing something and then they want to change it 3 days later? I mean, it's crazy because some of this stuff is left to interpretation. Anything is left to interpretation, it's kind of like an opinion, right? It's my opinion. You're not wrong. Well, just, somebody can interpret something because, again, it's not like the circumstances and how real estate is, like it's not black and white in the middle of the contract and the negotiations. And I'm gonna provide a couple examples of what I'm talking about. And I've been told so many times from everybody not to talk about numbers, and it pisses me off. I want to talk about numbers. I think it should be important to talk about numbers. But the way this is playing out, like, I understand. I understood a little bit as of yesterday. We had this huge meeting of why maybe I shouldn't talk about numbers and the charges for me. I don't know anybody else's charges, right? I'm going to tell you, my opinion is we're going to be cheaper than everybody else and offer better services. But like, I can't like factually say that's 100% true, but it's close, I can tell you. But we had a plan of going in, and it was going to say, okay, well, our commission is going to be this for a buyer on a worst case scenario. So it's saying, we're going to say, hey, buyer, you have to sign this contract now with us. We're sorry that the government's making you do this, essentially. But this is the law. You have to do this, or I can't show you the house. Don't want to work with us? That's fine. No big deal. You don't got to sign it. Don't get to see the house. Go to another agent. They're going to say the exact same thing. So we're all in the same boat together. But I'm going to say, all right, we're going to charge you X to represent you. And what our plan was, with the ability to negotiate up for a seller to potentially pay us more. And we're doing that because in a worst case scenario, we get a counter back from a seller. They don't want to pay that, right? Then hopefully we're in a position to take less money, but that's what the buyers agreed upon anyways. Well, we were told yesterday we can't do that. We're told yesterday that we can't do an amendment. We can't change that rep agreement to increase the pay. So let's just say, for example, right, I signed you up and you agreed to pay me this to represent you. Well, you ended up buying a place that actually on the back end offered me more money than what you agreed to pay me. I cannot accept that money because you've only agreed to pay me this, even though you're not even paying me the money. I can't go back and change it. They said it's going to be a big rule. We can't go back and change it to increase for me to get potential more money if the seller was offering it. This is the seller offering it. What they said was, no, we have to then charge the higher amount on paper. So I have to charge the higher amount on paper, and then if we negotiate less than that, we can just lower it at that time. What sense does that make? So I have to go and tell a buyer, hey, by the way, trust me, sign this contract with me to pay me what I feel is a tremendously high amount, but that's what a lot of people are going to do. But just trust me that if I can't get it negotiated, I'm going to lower it down for you, right? And again, people that know me and trust me and already have that relationship, sure, that's probably not a big deal. But a stranger, right? You know how hard it is a stranger to say, hey, yeah. And I'm just going to give you an example. Let's just say it's doubled, right? I have to double what my charges are, and then in hopes that I get half of that. But you, as a consumer, have to trust me that I will actually do that, and not just go under contract and say, well, actually, you agreed here, so I'm going to charge you this because you've agreed on paper. This is screwed up. It's a screwed up system. They said no subliminal messaging, right? They said they don't want us asking. They don't want us revealing. If an agent calls me and says, hey, Steven, I want to see your house, 123 Smith Street today. By the way, I'm charging my buyer X commission. I am not supposed to say yes to that. I'm supposed to say, if my seller has agreed to say, yes, they are open to concessions, I'm supposed to say, yes, they're open to negotiations, right? Because I'm not supposed to reveal yes or no. So then that agent might go back to their buyer and say, hey, they didn't tell me if they're willing to cover it, so let's move on to another house. That's what's going to happen. I know they don't want to say that, but that's exactly what's going to happen. On the flip side, right, when I work with buyers, I'm going to say, hey, you know, this was the plan. Hey, here's the fee. Do you want me to ask the sellers beforehand if they're willing to pay this? And if not, then we won't look at the house, right? Because if you're telling me, Stephen, you know what, I can't afford to pay you that, which is buyers haven't been. Hey, Stephen, I can't afford to pay you that, so I only want to look at houses where the seller's going to pay that. Well, is it considered steering on my part to then call an agent and say, hey, you know, my buyer can't afford to pay me. I have to get it from the seller. I just want to see if you guys are open to paying this. But they're not supposed to reveal it to me. I'm not supposed to do that. So what the heck's going on? I'm supposed to be out here showing. It's chaos. It is chaos, and I can't even remember all this stuff. This whole stuff is just. I'll be honest. I wouldn't have guessed is going as bad as what it's going. I did not anticipate this. It is going way worse than what I anticipated. And I ultimately, like, business-wise and real estate-wise, we'll be fine. We'll figure it out. I'm not worried about for us, but the entire industry screwed up. And there's going to be a lot of people end up in a lot of screwed up situations because of this interpretation. And somebody's, you know, there's going to be people out here that's going to figure out some loopholes, and they're going to exploit them. While other people are doing it, you know, truthfully and honestly and doing what's right. And it's, I mean, oh my gosh. Oh man. I mean, it really does. It pisses me off, of how these things are, and just the lack of, you know, they're saying, hey, Saturday, like, we have documents coming out on Saturday. The rules start on Saturday, but they're not releasing the new documents we're supposed to be using until Saturday. What sense does that make? Right? What if I have people want to look at houses all day? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff we have to go back. We have to amend these contracts, and we have to explain this, and you know, what happens. Here's another scenario, right? What happens when my seller says, you know what, I'm not paying a buyer's agent. That's fine. They have the right to do that. I say, sure, I'm going to list it. And the buyer comes to me unrepresented. So in my contract, seller's the only one paying me, right? Well, in the seller's best interest, it would be in their best interest for me to, you know, obviously assist that buyer in the purchase of it. But at what level do I treat them as if they're my buyer and help them book everything, help them send everything to the lender, help them send everything to the title company, help them with the appraisal part of it, help them with the inspection part of it, help them with the earnest money part of it, help them negotiate the repairs against you? No, right? But if I don't, right, then there's a good chance, probably better than not chance, that something's going to get screwed up, something's going to get delayed, something's going to get missed, right? Because it's on the buyer to do it. They don't know what they're doing. I'm not getting paid to represent them. Why would I represent them? But at the same time, right, I am getting paid by the seller to try to sell their house. It's like, that's such a muddy gray area. And it's not fair to any agent to arguably to do double the work for half the pay, and that's that situation. Like, I want to sell the house for my seller, but is it fair for a buyer just to come in free and clear, not pay anybody anything, and get something with other people doing all the work for them? So, like, what does that look like? Do I say, hey, listen, no, I'm not going to do anything for you. You got to find an own agent, right? Because I don't represent you. I'm only representing the seller. Well, is that going to piss the seller off? What if I say, yeah, sure, I'll do it at $500 just to draw up a contract, right? Do I have a flat fee like that? Do I have a flat fee per situation you help me with, or do I charge you the whole amount? And then you say, I can't pay that. Did I negotiate that against myself? It's such a screwed up thing, and it's wow. Frustrated right now because I thought we were going to be fine. I thought this was going to play out a lot differently. And boy, is it just, it's just a nasty mess. And people are probably going to be like, oh, Stephen, don't talk about this, you know, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to keep talking about it. This is my opinion. It's what, you know, my opinion tomorrow might be different than my opinion today based on events and things changing and evolving. But it is chaos right now, and I've had a few people call me, even random people, more so than not like friends or family, and say, hey, what does this play out? How does this work? Right? And I'm like, well, here's what we're going to do. And you know what? Here's what's right now. We don't know exactly what we're going to do because we thought we were going to do this, but now we're having to change it. And I don't know what we're changing to, because every avenue that I go down that I think that might make a little bit of sense, there's like a really big negative at the end. If I try it like this, there's a huge negative to it, a potential negative. If I try it like this, there's a huge potential negative to that. If I try it like this, there's a huge potential negative to that. There is no right answer right now. There is no right answer. So it's like, what becomes common practice? What a majority of real estate agents end up doing that makes sense? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. Is that something that we end up doing? What a lot of, kind of what becomes best practice? Maybe, I don't know. I got to figure out. I don't have answers for it. And that's just what's really irritating to me, is this should be black and white. I should be able to problem solve this. I should be able to say, well, hey, we're going to do this. And the problem is, every time I say we're going to do this, or how about we do that, there's just some huge negative at the end that is either a big negative against us and our time and then our paychecks, or it's a big negative on the clients and the potential of them getting screwed over. Now, we're not going to screw anybody over, but I don't want to go out here and start doing this